about who he thought was going to win and why he liked the sport and so on. And that was among the most challenging parts of the day for me, because it was just very difficult to get a conversation going with someone who doesn't really want you there. But some of the guys on the third floor who were at the top were Alzheimer's and memory loss patients. And some of those were, it was very difficult for the kids to start and build a rapport with them. But eventually they did, and we spoke to everyone who was in the home, and we finished in one of the communal areas with most of the residents there. We were doing a drawing activity with them for a little while, and then one of the residents brought out his radio and had some CDs, and they put on music, and then they started singing and they were dancing and all sorts of other things. And they all enjoyed it. They didn't want us to leave, and are waiting for next year when we all go back. But overall, it was a very easy thing to organise, and we didn't need a lot. We just need to be there, and it changes the day. And the nurses and staff at home were delighted that we were there, and also are very receptive to us being back. And that kind of thing, the idea behind the project was to get people who are very young and may not be thinking about the things that are going on in their community, and the nursing home is part of their community. And it's people who are unable to stay at home who have to go there. So the idea was to get them engaged with parts of the community that they wouldn't normally see. And I think it worked really well, and a lot of them were trying to organise for themselves to go back there and to find other ways of getting involved. And I think that's what it's about. It's not one day, but the one day is the start of something else. And a lot of the projects we have, we try to encourage them to go throughout the year or quarterly or monthly. And I think a lot of them do. And that's the real impact of Sewa Day. It's not one day and so many hundreds of thousands of people around the world doing small things. It's we've got these many volunteers that start, and they go on to do bigger things in the community because they started. And I think that first step is the most important part of the journey.
Thank you, Amara. Absolutely. I think really the message here is it's about connecting. You know, one of the things that I think the guys will remember is that it was year 3 that we volunteered to sell big issue newspapers outside Waterloo Station. And let me tell you something, there's no most profound experiences of people not wanting to connect with you because they think you're homeless. Of course, the guys and I, being who we are, got very competitive about how many newspapers we could sell, but that's a by the by. But it was, what we discovered is that these people, all they want is somebody to pay attention to them. Say hello to us, don't ignore us. And now, from that experience, I don't know if you did that day or not, but I make a point of ignoring something. Even if I've got cash to buy the paper, I will stop and say hello, because that's ultimately looking for connection, recognition, and that's what we're trying to promote within communities. So thank you, Amara. That was a great summary of your day. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to be speaking to Vinesh Mistry. I think they were talking about exemplaris. I attended this last year down the road in Vishwa, and it was a pretty mind-blowing day. You know, the number of initiatives under one roof, the number of people they had coming there was pretty incredible. And, so I think Vinesh is going to tell you more about it. Vinesh.
Thank you from the chairman. So, namaste everybody. So, I've been part of Sewa Day for I think 3 years now. This is now going to be my 3rd year. I'm initially, probably tell from my accent, I'm initially from Bradford. I moved down to London probably 8 years ago. So Sewa Day for me was a nice way. So how we say, you know, you give back to your local community. So I've lived in London for about 4 or 5 years, and I thought, you know, I've come down here, I've got a job. I don't really do much for my local society, so I knew Vikas and I knew Monoj and a few other guys. So I thought it'd be a nice way. I knew about Sewa Day, so I thought if I try to get involved with this, at least I'm doing a little something for my community in some shape, way, or form. And I live in, at the time I lived in central London, and he was like, okay, we'll send you off to West London, which was quite far from me, which wasn't very nice. But anyway, since then, this is now my 3rd year, and I've been involved with about 5 or 6 projects each year. And this is actually my area, so West London. And whilst I think most of the organisations here are voluntary, and you probably do Sewa in your day-to-day work anyway. So you're probably thinking, I already do Sewa. It's not any different to what we do in our day-to-day organisation. Well, my background is I used to go to Sun when I was younger, so that is essentially a voluntary organisation. We do a lot of kind of volunteering work there as well. So I think what's quite unique about Sewa Day, so in terms of, I know that everybody spoke about Sewa Day and what we do and the kind of benefits that it does. Is kind of why should you get involved, and what benefit is it to your organisation, who's already a voluntary organisation, and you already do this thing on a regular basis? Well, with the organisations I've been involved with, it benefits their organisation greatly. So, for example, the exemplaries, they're really like enthusiastic young group. So they're basically a C group, which they're probably kind of teenagers to like late 20s, and they're all Afghanistan-born kind of Sikhs. So they're kind of similar-minded people, and they kind of get in their society together to talk about their own issues and do so. So this was something a little bit different, whereby they could give back to their local community. So they went to their Gurdwara, and they between them, they're all quite ambitious guys. So they have like a doctor, an optician, a dentist, a lawyer. So they thought, okay, let's not push the bar. We have these expertise, so let's help our own community. So they have like a help centre, whereby they help their own people. They have like legal advice, help people with their eyesight, the dentist, health checks. So it wasn't anything different to the resources which they had, but it also meant that they could help their own community rather than just kind of going away and being a doctor and earning money and stuff. So it was very good for them, but then it also meant that they got recognition in their community. So a lot of people were like, oh, who are you guys? How can we get involved? And in the 2 years they've been involved, their organisation has grown quite a lot, and they've got a lot of recognition. They've been down to the Houses of Parliament with us and had a number of awards, and they've been in the newspapers. So they've also got recognition for the work that they do. So it's a nice way to be recognised for the things that you do and also grow your organisation. And the thing that I found with them as well is that they've had a lot more unity within the team, because it brings them together. There's a real good camaraderie around the Sewa Day. They really go for it. And on the day, I can tell you, I know the guys that came down last year, around the Gurdwara, there's a real buzz around there. They've all got the t-shirts, everyone's asking, who are you, what are you doing? They have like clothes collection, and they had a full-size van full of clothes. And when they went to take that, eight vans. Sorry, 8 vans. Times that by 8 trucks. And when they went to deliver that clothes to the clothes market, they just couldn't believe how much clothes that they brought. So these kinds of things, whilst it's good to do, it's the actual camaraderie that is brought there. It's actually seeing the difference, and I think that's really good. But to summarise, I think my perspective of Sewa Day is, yeah, you can give something back to the community, and it's nice to see that, and it's nice to actually see that, but it's also, as voluntary organisations, it's good to also be seen in your community to do that, and actually finally get some recognition for the hard work that you do. And it's a great way of having a one-day event which would actually help your organisation, your community to get together to see what you do and help also grow your organisation. So do try to get involved if you can. Come and speak to everybody who's been involved, and it's really quite simple, because I think the exemplaries are quite good in the sense that they use the resources which they already have and in their Gurdwara, so there's nothing new, slight bit of project management, and after the first time they did it, it gets easier and easier because everything's already in place. So yeah, do try to get involved. Thank you.
I mean, the exemplars is amazing. Last year we had dental clinics going on, and university advice clinics, and it was pretty incredible. Hundreds and hundreds of people. And I think we're going to go on, and the guys are going to come up and talk about how to organise project on Sewa. I think somebody said earlier, keep it simple, and I think that's the key word, right, Vix? Chief Wood, please take the floor.
Thank you all. It's quite something to see all of you sat over here. When we first started Sewa, we had an event in South. I was telling a few of you downstairs, and we had no more than 10 people show up. So this is definite progress. So thank you very much, Paketi, Sharmaji, for facilitating this today. Sewa, as you've heard, has taken place for the last 4 years, and this is our 5th year coming up now. And if you'd asked us, any of us, as to where do you think this is going to go, we would have actually stood there and said, we don't know. But there was this inherent faith that, just like what we were thinking in terms of there being a greater community spirit out there that we could tap into, and it's come true. When you go to someone, you say to them that Sewa takes place on this date, and this is the concept, these are the things that you have to do, no one says no. And that's what's enabled this initiative to grow. So it's not because of any cleverness by Arul or any of the team, it's because it's very clear-cut and inherently within us, we know that we should be doing things, and that's why it's taken off. So when you look at actually organizing Sewa Day, I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you have never taken part in Sewa Day? There's no shame in it. Don't worry about it. If you've never taken part, put your hand up. Okay? That will change hopefully this year. So it's a very simple thing that we ask you to do. When we first started, the idea was that we would organize events that you would show up to. And actually we failed. Because that morning, what you could do is open the curtain and say, it's raining and I'm not showing up. So a very simple thing. Sharmaji, I asked you, will you turn up to Sewa Day? You said, yeah, it's a great idea. Well, Sharmaji, how can I help you organize your project? And as soon as you switch the transaction, you ask, well, Sharmaji, you organize the project, and I'll help you with the infrastructure, the ideas, we'll tell you how to get people to your project, we'll show you how to get some media. All of a sudden it starts making sense. And so as a result of just flipping it, a very simple thing that we did, we managed to make sure that there are 75,000 people take part all over the world in this initiative. And that's quite significant. So it's a simple switch that we've achieved. So there are primarily 5 things that you have to do to organize a Sewa Day project. And I want to go through them very simply. The first is, think about what the need is. Think about what interests you. Sometimes it's about the canal trust that Harashji spoke about. Sometimes it's about the old people's home. Sometimes it's about a forest and some tree planting. Sometimes it's about, like the SKLP Samaj actually did, which was to collect food parcels for soldiers serving in Afghanistan. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's simple ideas. But think about an idea that you, your group, your organization, your family, your neighborhood would all get behind. And then when you do that, quite simply go onto our website, sewaday.org, and register. Register your idea. Someone, I guarantee you, will get in touch with you to take you through the process from there onwards. Believe it or not, there are also some very silly ideas. The whole idea of Sewa Day is to benefit the disadvantaged. Yeah? So we have to keep that focus. So when you register your idea, someone will call you and take you through some of these do's and don'ts, hold your hand, take you through the journey, and you organize, you'll end up having a much more effective event. Then Sewa Day arrives. What do you do? How do you get people to come? What flyers do you produce? What materials do you need? What do you think about from a health and safety perspective? All of this is important for us as organizers, whether you're an organized entity or whether you're a family or a neighborhood taking part. We have to bear this in mind. The last thing is, after Sewa Day has taken place, tell us about it. There's a view in our community which is Sewa is a very personal thing, and it's with humility that we carry out. Absolutely, with humility we carry out Sewa. But please do share what you do, because through these case studies, other people take inspiration. By learning about what was done in the food bank project, for example, we all go to Navratri somewhere or another, organize a food bank, but had you not come here and told you about it, you wouldn't have done it. So yeah, this is actually quite a good idea, we can do this. All the Canals Trust, all the numerous projects that take place all over the world. So the last step was quite simply go onto the website, give feedback. this is what we did, this is what the achievement was. And as a result, all those findings, I think Arun mentioned, we actually have someone who's very talented, who's an economist. His name is Pratik, who's Saturday here. Pratik actually produces a report using a technique called social return on investment. Now, social return, I know that he's quite smiling because I'm explaining an economic concept here, but it helps us measure the impact of Sewa Day on an economic basis. So this year, and the last 3 years, we've calculated the economic benefit of Sewa Day to the British economy. And that's quite significant when you think about it, because it's not just, yes, we may think it's just showing up and doing our thing, but it helps in explaining the story, explaining the journey, and understanding the impact of what we do. So there's a very few steps that you have to take. So please make sure that you start off with thinking about an idea, and then working out how you take that idea to implementation. And we will help you with that. We have a number of our team over here present today. So after, when we finish here, please do approach any one of us. So I'm going to ask them to stand, a few of you to stand. So can I ask Harsha, please stand? Harsha, Harish, Sanjay, Karthik, Amar, Minesh, Farul. So any of these folks, please go and see them at the end. They will help you and take you through how you organize everything. Please sit. So that's the most important thing. So there's a practical aspect to organizing Sewa Day. Now when we think about, I think Harish has spoke about Sewa Day and what is happening in Sewa Day for the next few years. The last 4 years, we've seen 75,000 people in approximately 25 countries, organized projects that people have been part of. And what they really love doing, and in fact, I remember at the Southall Gurudwara, people saying what we really like the idea about is someone in Bali, someone in San Diego, someone in Southall, doing exactly the same activity and connected through Facebook, Twitter, all these social media channels. And there's a feel of a global community doing something. There's a very powerful emotion, thinking that there's someone else who's doing the same thing as I am. And that, I think, is a really powerful thing for us to actually take into account. But when we think about Sewa Day, and Minesh was one who challenged us on this, in fact, when we think about Sewa Day, it's not just about the number. It's not about 75,000 people. It's not about 1 million people, frankly. It's not about 10 million people. It's about the impact that it has on ourselves. You know, if we want to change in society, we have to change ourselves. And when you go and engage with all these subjects, whether it's an old people's home, whether it's a canal trust, whatever it is, you're hit with the reality that I can actually make a big difference. So when we talk about Gandhiji and we talk about, his famous phrase, which was, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," very true. I am that change. You come to realize, I am that change. I can have that impact. So when you think about from now until for another 5 years, because we're at this 50th anniversary, what is it that we will see? It's a project that I know that Lopa doesn't like me speaking about, called Sewa Day 365. She doesn't like numbers on names. Now, Sewa Day 365 is very simple. We want Sewa Day takes place on one day. This year is the 5th of October. But that's not it. Sure, take that as a starting point. But let's perform regular acts of Sewa. So part of the research that Pratik has done, when we conduct the feedback survey, it says that 60% of those that actually provided feedback, 60% of those that provided feedback actually say that they will go and re-volunteer during that year to that project. That's quite significant. And when you ask them, have you ever done anything like this? A further 70% say they've never taken part in any kind of social action or volunteering activity, ever before. So that is a remarkable statistic, it's a remarkable finding, and we have to embrace it. So when you think about what is it that we can do regularly, it's very simple. Look around. We live in a society that needs help. And so whatever the project is, it's about getting engaged again. So you may this year, for example, do a clothes collection. You may do a food bank. Continue doing it. You may support another institution. You may support a mandir to go clean it up. You may support a mosque to go clean it up. That's fine. Continue doing it. And continue doing it on a regular basis. So when you think about in 5 years' time, we can look back and say, right, the legacy of Sewa Day is that it's not just one day, but it's become part of our lives. And it's become part of our everyday language. So, in fact, one of the challenges that we've had is why not rename it? Why not rename Sewa Day? Call it International Day of Volunteering. So at this point, Arup is quite rightly saying, is that if yoga can become such a household name, why can't Sewa? So when we speak about it in those terms, Sewa Day is here to stay. Sewa Day will keep on growing because of us. And Sewa Day will be successful because, as the research shows, more people want to be kinder, want to be more community spirited, and want to give back. So this is the really magical thing about Sewa Day. So in final, I want to leave you with a simple message. On Sewa Day, there are 3 principles, 3 criteria that you have to abide by. Your project has to abide by. First is, you have to help leave hardship and poverty. Okay? To help leave hardship and poverty. The second is to protect the environment. And the third is to bring some joy to those that have nothing, or to bring some joy. Now, as long as your project meets one of these criteria, no issues with us. You go for it. You will help you organize. The golden rule, however, is that there's no fundraising. We want behavior change. We want behavior change, right? So no fundraising. So it means donating your time. It's a very simple concept. The parameters are set. And because the parameters are set, we all understand what's in and what's out. If it's in, then please go for it. Go be ambitious. Really think about how you scale your programs and see how we do this. So that is what I wanted to say to you. And in this room, we have some fairly influential and powerful people. So we have, starting with your mayors, we have Gareth Thomas, member of Parliament. We have Virendra, we have Kumar. We have leaders of the community like Haribhai. All of you can be absolute ambassadors for Sewa. You live in the community. You walk the streets wherever you're from. You walk the streets in wherever you're from. So when you speak to people, it counts. So please commit to being ambassadors for Sewa on a regular basis and tell people about the value of taking part. So this year, I'll repeat for your benefit, Sewa Day is on the 5th of October, Sunday the 5th of October. Please, please, please take part. In my last 10 minutes, I've spoken about how you organize. I've talked to you in terms of where we're taking it. I've talked to you as to how you can connect with these things. So please take heed of that and please support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vikas, for that very comprehensive guide to getting involved. I think a very important element there is that we've given nobody ownership of what they do. We've never dictated to anybody in 5 years what they should do. We've allowed people to use their own imagination, develop their own projects. And believe it or not, in 5 years, I don't think we've had a simple argument in any of our team, within our team or with any volunteer group that we work with, as many because Vikas tells us what to do. And with that, I'm going to welcome, and it's a privilege to have you as a Virendra Sharma MP, to say a few comments about Sewa. I'm sorry, have we surprised you again?
I thought speeches had been done. I thought Gareth somewhere, he just disappeared.
Was the first one to come here?
Okay.
At 12 o'clock.
The mayors, distinguished guests. It's a great honor before I welcome you to be part of Sewa for myself. Great honor because it's a concept which I think more than 4 years ago, when we had a meeting in Hambro School, Alan Keane and myself joined me. So it was long more than that. So concept was developed long time ago, but actively taking forward is 4 years. So I think it's not a new concept. It's an idea which goes with our faiths as well. The serving the community, serving the society. And I'm glad to see the Mayor Harold, Mayor of Ealing, councillors from Ealing. There should be one or two from Hillingdon. I'm kind of here, yes. I'm expecting few councillors from Hounslow as well. We got the member of the Greater London Assembly, Dr. Vishwa here. All the leading members of our community are here. We did expect more people to join us, but as you are aware that 3 gurdwaras having special programs today. His school, then there's also Gurdwara. And that's why Dr. Mubashir, myself and Councillor Leader, we were stuck coming out of the Sikh school, and it took us over 45 minutes to get to. So it's about a mile to get here. So it's busy. But I'd like to congratulate both Manoj and Vikas for that initiative and the vision for the future. They are old friends, who were young but very old friends, who have this vision for the society, where rather than expecting others to do something, they've given the idea what we can do together, rather than it's a council need to do it, it's the mandir need to do it, it's the gurdwara need to do it, it's the mosque need to do it. No. Taking first that what I can do to improve the environment, what contributions I can make to eliminate poverty, promote equality. So what I can do first. Noble trend is, or we all part of that. I'm not saying that you do it, I don't do it. We all do it. What are we doing? Rather than say, look, what I'm doing, then ask. So I'd like to thank you for bringing that idea back to the wider community. And I can assure you that all of us together here will cooperate, will take some ideas forward, will encourage others as well to take some ideas, bring some ideas to you. And all of you, well, now I can welcome you to something, because I know that I can see many friends from Brent and Harrow coming here today, and welcome to Southall. And I hope that that partnership you have created, that not only it is in Brent or it's in Harrow or it is in Healing, that all of us working together, which is the global idea, because that's the problem. Once again, thank you very much for coming, and I'm sure that once we have more and more information, we must take proactive role in it, and hopefully on the 5th of October we will have a wonderful, and then eventually we will have the function in the House of Commons. Thank you very much.
Not hopefully, we will. Well, thank you very much. I think we're almost at the end of the formal part of the afternoon. You know, there are a number of stories that I think come out of 4 years, and one which always particularly touches my heart, I think was from year 1 or year 2, where we had a group of volunteers from North London who were tidying gardens for elderly people. And one such group was led by a strapping macho type guy who was not given to emotion. And he was leading a team cleaning a garden out in some old person's home. And halfway through the morning, this old person came forward and said, what are you guys doing? I said, we're tidying a garden, planting fresh flowers for you. She said, why? I said, because we just want to, we want to make your garden nice. She said, but I haven't got any money. Because they said, it's okay, we don't want your money. We're doing it for nothing. She goes, for nothing? She goes, yes. And the chap said, she started crying. She goes, nobody's ever done anything for me for nothing. And this is a 6-foot guy. He also started crying because they touched him. And he was so moved. And you know, that's what it's about. It's about people connecting and giving. And giving also has an equal opportunity reaction back. You feel good about it, you feel good about the world that you're trying to change and you're trying to create for your children. And ultimately, as Vikas always says, it's always the kids who get excited about Sewa Day, and it's for them that we started it, so that, you know, maybe if we inculcate the right values in them, then they can maybe clean up some of the mess that maybe our generation has created along the way and make the world a better place. So, you know, with that, I want to thank Shadashanji and Sharmaji and the temple for all your hospitality and the facilities. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. The councillors and the mayors and the politicians who showed up. I want to thank our trustees who are here today as well. I don't know if people met, but Lupa is our deputy chair, and so he can how to get involved. And with that, thank you very much, everybody. See you on October the 5th. Let's make it 100,000 people, and let's make it a quality year. Thank you so much. Come on,